Hi, future self. We were just talking about the law that San Francisco just passed on banning government use of facial detection, and Steve has opinions about the way that it should be, and I wanted to remember them because they're good opinions. Will you tell them to me again?
Oh.
Because you had a specific set of, like, what it should be legal if someone is under a certain kind of investigation.
Yeah, like I think generally you should be allowed to track, government should be allowed to track people with facial recognition technology, but like what if there's a manhunt? Don't you want to have that enabled for that individual? So I would imagine it would just be something you would seek a warrant for, just like other controversial investigative or...
But like breaking into someone's house,
tools.
that's you need a warrant for that.
I don't know. That's a separate issue.
I'm just like an example of something that you need a warrant for.
I actually don't know if they do need a warrant for that these days, thanks to the de-statification of our country. I'm not sure. I think if they have reasonable suspicion, they can just reach here. I don't think they need a warrant. But anyway, that notwithstanding, so for this, I would imagine you would need like a warrant, a court-approved warrant, or maybe you can use it for someone who is like a, I don't know, person of interest, or under active investigation, and you would, it's kind of subjective, so you would need again, a judge to rule on it, and you get a warrant.
And it would be like, okay, so you get a warrant, and then every public camera in the city suddenly has a thing where, like, if it detects that particular human, it gives you like a little ding, basically, a little notification. And then there's like an expert who is like whether or not that person is that person, or I don't understand how that part works. Like, how do you get past the false positives?
Well, you also need to have an expert in the loop, so they would need to hire an expert. I don't know if they would be permanent, permanent part of the police force, like a detective or something, but you need to have someone who understands the technology.
Right.
And, so it's not a binary. It's like, well, we have a false, a positive flagging, of this individual.
Right, we have a possible sighting of...
from 23 cameras with a median confidence of 85%.
Right.
And the more sightings you have, and the higher the confidence, it's possibly an indicator. I mean,
right.
It doesn't mean that it's, that's necessarily your person, but it's generating leads for you.
Yeah.
You can go investigate all those locations. So, and it wouldn't have to. It would be looking at every face. That's the thing. I mean, you do have to try. It has to be on or off.
Right.
You have to look at every face, but
try to recognize every face.
But it's not the crucial distinction. Is it's not looking for every face. It's not looking for every identity. So
right.
It's not identifying every face. It's just identifying whether it is.
Right. It's basically like
face.
no, that one.
Yeah.
Right. So as opposed to like Jim, Bob.
Right. It wouldn't actually identify or expose the information to any of those people. And if it's a no, then you just toss it. So you need laws around that as well, and about having an expert that can evaluate it. I think you would need to have two categories, either private or public notice. I guess I would call it. Private notice would be where you don't want the public to know, because that would alert the person. So like,
you mean the notification would be private or public?
Like maybe you're looking.
I would assume they would be private.
You're looking for Pablo Escobar, let's say, and you think he's in this town, so you don't want him to be alerted to that, because
right.
Like take a tunnel to the neighboring town. To the neighboring town. Take his tunnel network to the neighboring town.
Yeah.
But if it's like for a a manhunt, those are usually public anyway. It's usually right in the news, manhunt, for stuff like that.
Right.
I think it would need to be accompanied by a public notice.
Like, we get those notices on our phone of, like, Amber Alert, this is a car. So it would be something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And I think the person appointed to, I think you would, part of the problem though is that you have things like stingrays where the cops sign NDAs and they use that to flout the law, so they're literally doing something illegal, but then they're hiding behind the shield of another legal device.
Yeah.
So you want to avoid that. So I would say that you would need, in addition to the expert, the investigative expert in machine learning, or at least in that particular technology, I think there would also need to be another individual that ideally they could be appointed, I guess, but ideally they would be elected. They'd be like a data auditor, something like data.
Ooh, yeah. Do we don't have a data auditor? I guess that's not a position in the city.
And they would be there with that investigator or whatever to make sure that people aren't. So if it's like a private notice thing, well, unfortunately that does mean still that everybody, like facial detection is looking at every face, even though it's not looking at every identity, but you can always trust government officials, so some cop might be like, well, just slip this identity in there, track these people. Like,
right, like my girlfriend or
while
something.
It's turned on, my girlfriend, or, let's track all of these
protesters or
whomever. So you would need, the data auditor would be there to be like, they would have to see everything.
Right.
And so ideally that would be like an electable position, but
the other point that I really like, that I brought up before I turned you on camera, is that these facial recognition things have bias in that they can't recognize women or people of color very well, which basically means that if we did run high-end facial detection on everyone all the time, you would mostly just find white dudes. Which I don't want to happen, I just thought it was funny.
But it's actually almost like we need, I don't know, this raises kind of a larger issue for me, is maybe we need like, I mean, you do have internal affairs, which most cops hate, apparently, well, if you were to believe television shows, but it's probably true. It's almost like you need like a separate, you almost need like a policing the police force just for data.
Yeah, just for like technology
and maybe
and data and stuff.
Roll in other things like stingrays or DNA, things like that. So you'd have like a data commissioner, and there would be like these data auditing officers that would like be embedded in local police departments.
That's a good idea. I haven't heard that before.
But
game me on book.
The police would probably fight that tooth and nail. They'd be like, no, just give us the tools.
Okay, so I'm in the studio. I made a pile that is gonna be sculpture pile. Yeah, there's a dog. Steve gave me this bit of wood so that I can have a base for any sculpture I'm making. But mostly today has been setting you down on things. Mostly today has been trying to sort of reformulate my white paper on data sourcing certification. And so we brought up this idea, Callie, leave it, honey, that's glue, you can't have it. Like whether something like an organic label would help create a market for organic data that's derived in a non-extractive manner that promotes health, and sort of thinking about the lead system where you get certain points for certain things, and whether a tiered system or not tiered system is better. And I still want to write the piece, but I think right now it's just like kind of a mess. That's okay. That is okay. Sometimes your brain has to do background brain labors, and you feel like everything is a mud pile. So, just okay. Just, frustrate.